Morning. Everyone have a good rest?
Oh,
Good. Good. It's quiet here in Vermont. It's very quiet. When we come in, great thing, when we come in, first thing, everyone, if I'm here, if I'm not here, just kind of settle in. Just kind of drop in. Try to use this weekend as an opportunity to, at every change, I talk about transitions, every transition, you go pick up someone, you go to a new meeting, you go to start your day, you start to get out of bed. To me, every transition in my life, I look at those as in a world where we're very busy and there's a lot of things pulling at us constantly. To me, the transitions are the little entry doorways into neutrality. Even transitions between challenges in life. I learned this from great yogis and mystics who said, if you're sick, if you're going through a big challenge, those are the treasures. Not because they're easy, but because they slow down all the other things going on to give a little space. And those are the moments when, if we're quiet and we're receptive, big things can happen. So for anyone who wasn't here last night, let's start off. We're going to start real simple. Everyone, again, take a nice big breath in. As the breath comes out, relax, let go. And just drop right into the space between the breath. Just kind of hold that space. If you're new at this, another way to do it is take a breath in. At the top side of the breath, just kind of stop. Feels like holding the breath. And every so often, just release a little bit. It's kind of like holding the breath at first, only the breath keeps going. And just release it a little bit. And as you release it a little bit, for me, when I'm holding this space, I really want you to get comfortable. I'm just kind of holding it almost like if you ever fill up a tire with air and you have that little nozzle and you put it over the pin, and if it's too much one way, it doesn't really set, the air doesn't get in. You got to find that place, go back and forth until it's right in that perfect place. And then the tire starts to fill up. You feel that a little bit? As soon as I find that perfect place, then my field is now like a big balloon. It's filling up, very subtle. This is such a subtle practice that if there's a lot of physical, emotional, psychic going on, people never even see this. And yet it's right in front of us. It's such a simple. So just kind of hold this space for a moment. Just hold it and see if you notice. As I hold it, I release a little bit, relax a little bit. As I do, it's like unwind. Can people feel that unwind rhythm? It's exactly the rhythm that we built the unwind program around. Once you access that, this is the true laser right here. And my body's unwinding. Just stay with this for a moment. Just stay. Let this breeze, let this neutral essence fill in the space. So right there for me, it qualitatively shifted. I took a sigh. and from inverted to opened up like this. Now that experience now different. Now I'm in what I would call the second step of the still point process. I want to kind of bake this down over the course of this weekend to really simplify this process. Consider this just like the air tire. You know, you put that nozzle up. When I first find still point, it's not about I say the space between the breath. Really what I'm doing is I'm holding. And I might adjust a little bit. I might hold a little bit more the breath, or I might release it a little bit more. Until I feel that I got, just like with the tire, you find when you get that right place, the tire starts to fill. You can tell because the noise, the hissing goes away and the tire starts to fill up with air. Right there, I just felt that. Again, my field, now I'm just resting here in still point. Feel the physics of this envelope, this quantum field. Feel this quantum field. This quantum field to me is the envelope that surrounds the body, the energy envelope that surrounds the body. The subtle body. This is, for me, the true body. And I hold it right there. I shifted qualitatively. That shifted, and now I'm not holding still point anymore. Now my perception is now in the body. Now there's nothing right now for me to do because this is opened. In my life, 99% of the challenges that I have are lessened and dissolved and resolved if I can shift whatever is happening and get back here. So my approach to almost every challenge situation that I deal with is, okay, let's drop in, hold, until this space is open. And I want to start today by qualifying that this next 2-3 days, everything we're going to do is designed to open this. Not as though it happens in one moment where, you've opened it now for the rest of your life. That to me that's not what this is about. This is about small steps. We opened it this morning. We open it again this afternoon. We open it so that now, like getting dressed every day, that's something you consciously steward. Our goal is every day we have choice. We like the body, we enjoy body, and we craft and steward this. In ancient systems, they had different names for this. They had light body. They had the Merkava, ancient Judeo practice. Merkava, it meant the light body. And they viewed it as something that traveled through the dimensions and cosmos. This is the spaceship that brings us through the different states of reality until we return back to our real and true experience. Well, what I'm suggesting is we don't need to just go back. We need to manifest this so we can be here on planet Earth with all that we are. At least for me, I don't want to be here if I can't embrace the entire experience of consciousness. And so much to me of what happens at a retreat is, this process of this retreat is a collective process of us moving from physical back into this space. Today, this morning, we're going to focus on this quantum field. We showed last night still point, how to drop into still point. Still point's like the doorknob in my life. I go to still point. I don't talk about still point when we're on the road a lot, Because most people, that's about as much as, they're not ready to open the door and jump into the quantum field. So I talk about a little thing you can use in your life, which is very helpful. Yet for those of us here, we've used that little thing in our life and it's great, and we want to now walk into the next space. So we're going to do some different processes this morning. And really, I want to impress one more thing about this space. Because to me, this is the most exciting part about it. To me, this space is a portal. It's a portal. I look at this as my portal, and everything that I do here, to me, I want to process it through this space. Most people look at their portal as their body and their sense of egoic sense of personality, who they think they are, based on all the accrued experiences that have happened along their progression here in life. Whether conscious or unconscious, irrelevant. All of those different impressions, the brain kind of collects. Yogis call them impressions. And they say that most people are constantly boggling the different impressions that have accrued in their journey here, or in past lives. For me, that process changes as soon as we begin to make, it's like an initiation. As soon as we begin to change that portal, well, guess what? Impressions of the past are not going to accrue when you are beginning to hold the reference of this space. Because this space doesn't exist if you're holding on to the past. Simply not there. You cannot think and be in this space. You cannot have emotions that bring you into polarized spectrum of emotions and have this space. You can't think you're the body and be in this space. So our primary goal this morning is getting acclimated and comfortable Do people feel the tactile difference of holding still point and having still point fluff this space open? That's tangible, yes? That's great. That's key. And that is the number one thing I want to suggest for people to practice over the next few days. The more often you hold in still point and pop into here. See, this is the difference between a lot of what we do in seminars where we travel around and I show people how to tap into still point. See, the difference is people still think they're who they are, yet there's this thing called still point, and they go in it for a moment. You see, still point doesn't really hold until that changes. And the change that happens is that we open up to the experience of being this space. Then still point is something that this space does for us. If I go into a tough situation and there's some challenge going on, I can feel, like that tent pole analogy I used last night, where I can feel this space kind of pull me in and and then I start to look around and say, okay, what's happening here that I need to be a little bit more attuned to right now? And that's the opportunity that we have when we take a few days and dedicate it to cultivating. Taoists call this the chi space. They say cultivate your chi space every day. Yogi folks say your prana. You got to cultivate your prana. I give it a little bit of a different texture, a little bit of a different reference, yet same thing. So everyone go ahead and stand up. We're going to mix up a little bit here. This morning we're gonna kind of move along kind of fast. Normally we do 2 sessions in the morning and then a couple sessions in the afternoon. And today we're going to be taking a trip. And as a result of us taking that trip, after lunch, I want to kind of cover a lot of ground right here. So everyone go ahead and step forward, step to the side. Just cultivate a little bit of space. This to me is such an important practice. As you're standing here, we all do still point when we're sitting down. Go ahead and take a breath in. Great, just drop right in. You can tell when you're cultivated to still point, it's really clear when people around are dropping in. Notice what it's like to be in still point while you're standing. A good portion of our life we're standing or driving or doing something. You've got to be able to hold still point when you're doing things. Or else the things will happen and they'll knock you right out of it. And you got to race back to your quiet place to open up still point again. All right, notice your feet, how your feet, as you're resting in still point, notice how your feet are on the ground. Just take an inventory before we do anything of how you traditionally normally stand. A lot of people, when they're not in still point, they stand on one part of the foot or they stand. What we want to do is we want to dissolve our feet into the ground. So here's what you do. Bend the knees a little bit. We call this rooting, still point rooting. Bend the knees a little bit. Notice your entire foot. Notice the entire foot. And now roll forward a little bit. Go forward to the tips of the feet. Whatever you do, don't try too hard. Just be nice and easy. Go all the way forward to the tips of the feet, toes. Now roll back. Now go back, lean back a little bit towards the heels. Now go forward gently, ever so gently, nice and... Now go back again, all the way back to the heels. Now this go around as you're going forward, notice right in the center where the arches are, go real slow, right as I go over that area. I kind of notice suction, kind of pulling the feet down. Until right there, it's kind of like water going down a drain. It just kind of and suctioned the feet down. People feel that a little bit? Good, that's rooting your feet. Feet neutrality. Now notice your hips, your pelvic area. Each of these areas, we're going to do the same thing, positive, negative, neutrality. Same exact principle. The hips, the pelvic are designed to move. They go like this. They go forward, and then it goes back. This is a hinge. Most people don't even realize that it moves. Roll it forward. We're keeping the feet in that nice place, knees bent a little bit, relaxed. All I'm doing, legs, torso not moving, hips, pelvic area, moving forward. As you go forward, feel it, like really feel it. Like I'm extending it to the point where I can feel along the back a little bit of almost a nice, it feels almost a little tender. Which when I feel that tender, to me that's like something I want to go up and get cozy with. I just kind of go up to it and what do? I go up to it and I just say, welcome, aloha. If I find a little resistance, a little tension, I don't push against it. I go up to it and just kind of just welcome it. Just say, oh, geez, nice to see you. And then it kind of releases. And now I'm going to go back and bend this back. I tell you, so many people's problems are connected to how they hold their pelvic area. As I push back, I'm pushing back against the sacral area, which feels good. Doesn't that feel nice? Not too hard. This isn't a big strenuous exercise. And right there, I find a little tender area, so I'm just going to gently nudge up against it and say, hi. Welcome. You see, when you welcome things, they release. Has anyone noticed that? If you welcome things from the place of neutrality, from the place of the quantum field, they release. And then right there, it shifted, and now I'm going back to the center. And this, same as the feet, as I go to the front, this go around, right as I went over that neutral space in the center, it just released. Totally released. So now the feet, my feet or anyone's feet feel nice and like suctioned in. Now the pelvic, forward, back until it's right in the middle. Now that feels kind of like the tent pole. Now try the shoulders. Same thing. Shoulders go like this. They go out like this, and they go in. They go out. This is just the first part of the still point ormesize process called rooting, and then in. When I do this, I rotate. The shoulders kind of go out, and I'm just going positive, negative. The full, like right there. I just stopped there. I could feel a little tender from an old injury when I was a kid. I'm just going to let that cook. That area, that tension, I just kind of go right into it and say, okay, good. You got some cooking going on? Great. Let it cook until just dissolved. And now, same as the others, as I'm going back to the front, right there it dropped in to that space in between. So far, 3 areas. We did feet first. Every so often, right there, I just checked in on my feet. I just rolled forward a little bit, and then went all the way back. Forward a little bit. And now I just drop that right back into the central area. Everyone take a nice big breath. And drop right in. If any concerns come up, I tell you, everything that comes up today, welcome. Judgment comes up, cynicism comes up. How's this going to help me comes up. Whatever comes up, welcome it. If it's coming up here, it's probably nagging you every other moment of your life. Just say, great, thanks for showing up. Aloha, welcome. All right, now 4th key area, sphenoid. This one's really easy. A lot of people keep their sphenoids locked up constantly. Easy, tilt your head down, kind of like a visor to a motorcycle. Down, and then up. Back down. See how that feels right there? I did that twice. And right there, I just took a huge sigh. And literally, as I did that, the whole area just kind of totally dropped into neutrality. To the point where I can't even do the forward back again. Completely dissolved. If you're still do a forward, go back. And then right after you do that 2-3 occasions, go real slow through the central area, and it normally drops right into that scalar neutral state. Great. All right, that is rooting. So there's 3. Now, I want you to take a moment as we're standing here. For me, at a certain point, I do this a lot. I do it in airports. I do it usually if I've been on the road. I come back to Vermont or to Maui, and you can see me for about an hour or 2 when I first get back doing this. For me right now, I feel like almost a suction that's pulling me on my feet a little bit forward. I'm still in that neutral space, but it's pulling me forward. I'm not doing it. It's the wave of the universe moving through the galaxy, through the tides, through our cerebrospinal fluid. Anybody feel that a little bit? Just let that gently kind of, it's like the string of the tent pole that lines all those poles up. And then I stop. I just dissolved. I dissolved that rhythm just there and just dropped into still point. All right, good. That's rooting. That's rooting. That's the first key part to the ormesize process. The next part, this is what I technically call ormesize. So the key to this part is to go very slow, very gentle. Do not do anything. Literally, for me, I just kind of let that rhythm kind of shift, and it shifted into this motion. So I'm not really doing a whole lot right now. I'm just jiggling. The key to this process, everyone go ahead and take a stop for a moment, take a breath, drop in still point. And right from still point, the moment you get into still point, move gently from there. Let neutrality be the thing that's doing the moving. For me, when I do this, I look at this field as being what's moving me. Go very slow to begin with. Don't. If you start doing it and moving your muscles, it turns into exercise, which moves adrenaline, which works on your body. This is the opposite. We want to move and work on our field. All right, I often start with my hands. I just go like this. I'll just kind of, really what I'm trying to do is activate electrons, high spinning electrons, ether. A few different ways I do it. I started with the hands on this one. Now I went to the legs. I'm just kind of moving the legs kind of like this. When I do this, the key is the sacrum. I'm moving the sacrum with the legs in a very gentle way. Now the key to this process is being relaxed. If you're not relaxed, you're no longer doing it. So every so often, stop, slow down. Don't let it trend you into exercise. Everyone here is trained in doing exercise. We don't want to activate adrenaline. That shuts off every other system we're trying to activate. The lymph, the glands, the energy along the spine. I'm still, so long as I stay relaxed, the more you drop in to it, the more the field takes over. Now explore a little bit. I'm still doing this area. Now I'm going to kind of let this process kind of go a little bit. I did both together. Now I'm really feeling the organs in here. I'm kind of moving in a way where all these different organs, the colon, the lymph, the glands, the sexual area, the chest area, all these areas, I want to get ether. I want to get electrons to start to move very gently. I'll drop in a still point for a moment. Everyone stop and drop in a still point for one moment here. Anyone notice anything? Anyone feel a little more energy? That's subtle. You feel that subtle? The power here is in the subtlety. I liken this to gold. They gold, they dig, they shake up the dirt, they shake it, and then they get a little gold. To me, I do this and this and this until that ether's there. It doesn't take me long. If I were doing this in an airport, I might be done. I might sit down right now and just bask in that gold we just collected. Let's do a teeny bit more. We're going to do this a lot. This is just a start point. Often I'll do this. There's a lot of key things in the hands. I like to get the hands really going. Well, you call this the bird. I do it in airports a lot. This is a great thing to do. People really get a kick out of it. Which I get a kick out of too. There's a lot of ordinary on planet Earth right now. All right, then I move a little bit to the side. So I'm moving. This is great. This opens up all the meridians, all the lymph nodes. It just gets everything going. And stop right there for a moment. Just stop and open all those key neural pathways, nerve pathways, meridians, chakra. This is one of my favorites. This just happened naturally. This is in our process, we call this the lotus pose. This is the only real pose in our system. One pose, we call lotus. At certain points I'll be doing this. Now to me, the lotus pose, I often will do it down here. And to me, it's opening up different centers when it goes to different areas. For me right now, it opened up here. I was just doing it and it just dropped in. I didn't come up with this pose. This pose kind of came up and happened. And I call it lotus pose because that's what it feels like. It feels like a big opening lotus. I might occasionally go up higher, open up the higher centers. As I'm holding this pose, my legs kind of kicked in a little bit. This is a fluid process. And again, drop in for a moment. Just drop into still point. The key to the process is always be in or trending into still point. I'm going to do the head a little bit, just a little bit. I do this a lot, so start gentle with this. For me, when I do this, I want to loosen up all the cranial plates, all the sphenoid, the jaw, the TMJ, all the cranial nerves. And then stop for a moment. Be careful, if you do too much, it'll burn you out, and then it turns back into an exercise thing. Now I'm going to do one more. Just kind of do a free range. Just kind of open up this quantum field. Everyone open up this quantum field. Just, and then see how the quantum field wants to move your body, its body. Really, the body belongs to this quantum field. It doesn't belong to us. Often I'll do this motion. I call this quantum field pumping up the quantum field. It's kind of like a hydraulic press where I'm just kind of pumping down. I'm pumping it down. Now, all the while I'm doing this, it's a kind of strong motion, yet I'm totally neutral. If I stop right here, I'm in the same place. I am totally neutral, not efforting at all. There's no adrenaline being kicked in. I'm not trying. And then it kicks in. Neutrality is pumping. I do it behind. Now, very gently go ahead and sit down. First thing, after we do a process, transition, drop right in. Take a moment, drop right into still point. An inventory, take a quick inventory. What do you notice? See if you begin to notice as we do different processes at different points. Do you notice a qualitative difference in your field as we progress on this journey? And as I said yesterday, most people are used to their body, noticing how their body feels. Does it feel good? Where's the boundary? We're not the body. See if you can notice where your body leaves off. Notice where the subtle body starts to go, and then see if you can explore how your subtle field, your subtle body. Picking up on where we were last night, let's jump right in. First thing we're going to do, now we got the quantum field, envision a lightsaber. We're going to do a lot of little processes so that they become second nature. Notice that lightsaber that goes around. And very gently, just go around, let it extend out to the outside of your quantum field. And cut any cords, any blockages, any connections to people or friends or community or anything. Every single thing out there has a karma, has an activity. Even religions, even groups you do yoga with, or groups you might be involved with work, or your local people, your family, your friends. Every single thing has its own karma inertia. Not good or bad, just simply what it is. And all we're doing when I do this work, I am constantly saying, well, if I process that stuff, when we keep our field open and neutral, the tendency for a lot of healers is they start to absorb everything around them. And that is not what this work is about. I do not go through life trying to process everyone around me. One, because they don't want to get processed. And two, because how does it help them if I process their stuff for them? They haven't figured out why they manifested that stuff. I certainly don't want to take responsibility for everyone else's stuff. I got my own stuff to deal with. So, easy solution. Go around, make sure when we do this work, I'm cutting any cords, even the people that I love and are closest to me. I'm not saying I'm not going to be there for you. I'm saying I'm going to be there for you from a place of neutrality, which is way better for them. Now they have unlimited resources as opposed to the resources they think they want, which almost always isn't what they really want, need, or want. So, particularly in this work, every day you come in here, drop into still point, clear your field. Particularly the folks that are coming in, driving in. You know, I mentioned last night, we've done it. Slow down the next 2 or 3 days with the outside things. The emails, the phones, the business, all that stuff. Keep it. This is a space to really make some headway and cultivate in our experience of neutrality and in the ripening and flowering that neutrality affords in terms of resetting things from the past that have been giving us challenge and opening up a new vistage pathway for where we're going from here. From this moment forward, from summer solstice, first summer solstice, new season, how are we going forward to manifest? And that's not a question. That is a pathway that will emerge in neutrality. Good. So go around. You might find people in your life here in the present, or people that you grew up with, or people that aren't here. Just get in the process of, I liken this to the garden. You know, the garden, if your neighbor's animals and rabbits and everything's coming into your garden, weeds and rocks, and you can't cultivate. So you got to put a little boundary around it. And you say, no, everything stay out. We're going to cultivate some fruits and vegetables here. All right, good. Notice as when you do this, when you take a sigh, when you take a breath. Don't fix the problem with them. You don't need to communicate a lot with that person. It's just cutting the energetic flow coming into your field. All right, good. Good. Now, take a quick look. Scan this portal. This is our operating system. Scan it real quick. Anything cooking today? Anything been coming up for you? A challenge, you know, retreats always bring their challenges when people arrive, whether it's rooms or situations or any kind of myriad travel issues, flight issues, stressors that start calling from home that are cooking. Anything coming up today, it's a great opportunity. Pull it up and just, whatever it is, whatever it was, great, thank you, aloha, welcome. Right there, I pulled up something. It took me a moment until it started to unwind, but then it started to unwind. I felt it go into that unwind zone. I just now kind of ride that. I'm just riding that. Until right there, it leveled right back into the quantum field. Now see if there's another one. Maybe there's a physical injury or a situation you've been dealing with. Maybe it's since our last retreat, something that's been coming up in your life a lot. A certain emotion or a certain situation around money or life direction, whatever. Pull it up into this space. And simply welcome. As if it's a long lost friend that's been holding something very dear for you. Been holding a reserve of neutral essence for you. Thing I pulled up started to dissolve. I'm just going to ride it now until it resets. Now notice, right there, I cleared 2 things. That's all I did. And most occasions I do this, I do it in 2 minutes. Most 5 or 10 minutes. I cleared 2 things, and right there, some significant changes happened to this experience that we've been talking about of the quantum field. The sacred muscle at the base. Take a quick note of the sacred muscle at the base, the root. When I squeeze it, same muscles you use to go to the restroom, just squeeze it in a little bit. And then relax it out. Squeeze it. This is the perineum, the base, the perineum. All the way back up to the sacrum. This is like a big bulb. Biggest nerve plexus in the body. Every yoga, shaman, healing, Taoist system understands the importance of culture. This is like having your favorite tree, and you're planting your favorite tree, and you don't cut it off at the bottom and then replant it in the ground. You got to honor the roots. Our society honors the thinking, and they think that down here is some thing to be avoided. Well, just squeeze in this whole area. Same thing we've been doing with the feet, with the pelvic. In, just kind of squeeze it in. Anyone feel that? It kind of like a big wave. It just kind of goes in and then stops and then out and stops. And then in. That's powerful. Usually I drop it into still point. And in this moment, the wave, it's almost like I feel that wave where my entire fascial system and body are kind of going in. See if you can expand that wave. Just kind of, when you feel that wave, what you do is you kind of go right up to it. And just kind of drop into still point a little bit, just kind of get right close to it. This wave is talked about by so many different saints and mystics. Rumi described this wave. He said, you ride this wave back to the center, to the source. Many great yogis, some of the most famous yogis have whole meditations around accessing this cranial sacral system. Same rhythm of the ocean tides. See if you can kind of just welcome this rhythm. I feel this wave started down at the whole sacral area for me, and now my legs, my upper torso, into the heart. Entire structure right here, the entire physical structure for me right now is kind of gently being pulled in. The wave of life. And then out. Same rhythm of the tides. If you go sit by the ocean, the tides are the exact same rhythm of this rhythm inside the body. Exact same rhythm of our galaxy. This wave originates from our galaxy, which is a big spiral. That spiral is a wave. It goes around and it dimensionally translates, just like if you had a bottle of water and you spun it in a circle. Well, everything in that bottle of water, you put some drops in that bottle of water, essential oils. Well, the essential oil would be a little bubble in there, like our planet and star system. Our star system is like a little bubble of essential oil that doesn't dissolve in the water. Yet you still spin that bottle of water back and around, and that the orbit of that bottle of water will dimensionally condense that rhythm of that larger spiral into its own experience, and everything in that bubble will be in a dimensionally organized relative fashion, will be moving relative to that larger wave that's established by the galaxy and the spin state of the galaxy, positive, negative. That's what you happen when you have a spiral, positive, negative, polarity, karma. And so this very rhythm is, now I ask you, what's more powerful? Is the notion of being this separate bubble more powerful than that huge bottle of water that's spinning around it, or in it, and around it, and outside of it? Point being that this rhythm for me, the rhythm just dropped into still point, completely dropped into still point. I was about to say something about the rhythm and then it's gone. And there I just squeeze again the root, the base root, which is how I started. Squeeze it in a little bit, relax it. And energy will hold on. I don't want to focus on this too much for now. Energy up the spine, into the glands in the brain. Notice again, drop into still point, take a breath, drop in still point. Notice your field. Does your field feel tactily any different than when we started earlier today? Okay, how was that? Give me a reference. People feel the experience of the field opening? Okay, who wants to... Let me say one thing, because to me this is such a key piece, and then I want to hear from some of the experience. In this universe, to me, there are three key substantive qualitative states of experience. I liken this to taking a trip out in the wilderness. You know, you go and you first start climbing the mountain, and that climbing has a certain physics, walking on the land. Then you go up and there's a great lake at the top, near the top of the mountain. You jump in the lake. The lake is totally different than walking up the mountain. It's a different relativity, totally different physics that govern the experience of being in the water. Then you go up to the very top of the mountain and you jump off the mountain. You're now in the air, totally different physics than walking on the mountain and being in the lake. To me, the experience of me being in this universe has three qualitative states to me that to me are helpful in experiencing being here. The first one is being in the body, which everyone learns here pretty easily. Second one, to me, is dissolving things and coming back to the quantum field. Total different experience. If you're comfortable only in the body, well, then you have a good life. Then when life is over, you have no clue what's coming next. Who knows if it's going to be good? It's probably going to be good. But there's no comfort in the experience. So we have physical experience, to me. We have the galactic experience. And then we have the universal state. And these are just in this creation. There's stuff beyond this creation. There is realms of consciousness way beyond the experience of this creation. I'm keeping it really simple here. This is start point basics for being in the seed of the universe. And the key steps, the key states of relativity, physical. We're on planet Earth in our star system. Everything condenses to the physical. Second key shift, we leave the physical experience. We open up this field. And the next key qualitative experience of physics in our universe to me is the galaxy. What defines the galaxy is this motion of things going back and forth. Very big seed in the galaxy relative to our experience here. The key experience of the galaxy is that rhythm that we just experienced. That rhythm is the movement, is the flow, is the breath of life of our galaxy. Every tradition has a name for it. They call it the great rhythm. The Mayans called it riding the wave. There's all these different traditions that have amazing names for this rhythm of life. They say you ride that, you go to the center of the galaxy. Third key state in this universe, universal state, the space between the galaxies. You have galaxies, then you have space between them. The key to getting into that space, still point. That space has no polarity, no karma. In fact, that's what they call it in the East. They call it the ne karma, no karma state, universal state of love. So what we're talking about here are tools. You have the physical experience, okay, great. What do you do with it? You welcome it. If you can't welcome physical experiences, you're never going to transition to the next states. If you're comfortable welcoming things, guess what? That's just the doorway. It's just, oh, great. I welcome you. We're not welcoming the experience. We're not welcoming the pain. We're welcoming the essence that is the woven essence of everything. We're saying from the place of neutrality, hello, aloha problem, I welcome what's real here. And so that thing says, of course. Rhythm, second state. Rhythm unwinds this, positive, negative. Drop into still point. Everyone take a breath. Drop into still point. You've now, still point is your doorway into the universal state. The more you're comfortable moving in through still point, the more you say to physical, karma, great, nice experiencing you. Really, it's great. And I'm back here. 3 key things. If you, at the end of this 3 days, have a comfortable reference, and this isn't something that you get it and, wow, you're fixed, you're saved. It's not like that. You get it, and now you have tools to experience everything. You don't get it. So many people don't have any reference to this, and they go through life, and they're confined to the experience of their physical existence. The emotions that come with it, and the thinking that comes with it. And that's okay. That's been the prevailing experience here on planet Earth, the last age. But that's not who we are. None of us are that. We come down as an expression through the universe, through the galaxy, into the physical. We have to be real about that. That's not some glorified thing as though we're all that or anything like that. It's just pure physics. You can't come purely from the physical. It is not possible. No thing can. So all we're saying is, we're going to welcome and let's see what's real. Don't believe me. What do I know? Nothing. I don't think. I hate thinking. I don't like thinking. You welcome it. See if there's something underneath. See if that rhythm shows up. See if you keep riding that rhythm, if eventually it lands you back into still point. That's good for our focus today. Tomorrow we're going to focus on, once we're cultivated and in still point, how do we activate some of those subtler, more refined states of consciousness? Anyone want to share about their experience with any of those processes? I mentioned yesterday, it's very helpful. Come on, Eddie. How helpful it is to share for you and for everyone who hears. We're giving honor to the experience. We'll start over here then. Thank you.
I could feel a warm tingling go down my arms.
All right.
But I have trouble keeping my balance when I bend my knees.
Yes. Thank you, Eddie. Isn't that nice, that warm feeling?
Yeah.
I tell you, so much of the processes that I do, if there's an injury or there's a challenge, I do something until I get that flow of energy going. As soon as that flow of energy, I use the analogy of like, in those movies, they need gasoline, so they put the thing in and they start sucking. When the gas starts coming out, it starts flowing. When I hold still point, I just hold it until I feel that flow, then I'm done. Now, neutrality is now filling up the space, is now unwinding and dissolving things. As long as you can get all of these different tools, and we're going to get to lasers and Wi-Fi a little later, all of these different tools are simply tools to get that neutral essence flowing again. Then that can take over. That can handle. Yes, hi.
Hi. I was no thing.
Yes.
And in bliss. And my head nodded down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that my head nodded down, but I wasn't inside my body.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, this head is nodding down.
Mm. Mm. How was that?
Interesting.
Mm. Mm. Did it feel good being where in the experience where
Oh.
you are?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. That's the key.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't feel I was in my body. I
Yes.
just felt no thing. Like I was.
Yes.
I didn't. Not that I was out of it or
Yes.
in it or
Yes.
anything. It's just that
Yes.
I was consciousness, but I wasn't thinking.
Yes.
I was just in bliss.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
She's putting words so beautifully to exactly to the. That's the neat thing about this work, is that you know you hear things and it's very there's a common thing that happens for people that really jump in and dissolve. We're not a huge community in terms of the work of different systems out there on the planet. Yet we're a tight community, and many people experience a similar thing. It's not an inner thing. It's not an outer thing. It includes both inner and outer. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so much similar to that in the way how I experience this. It's like, for me, this field, this energy, this neutral essence, this experience comes, and it's kind of it's guiding my body, but it's not me doing it. I'm there. I'm present with it, and it's great. It's a nice experience to have. So thank you. Hi.
Hi. Well, you really helped me by teaching about the dissolving,
Yes.
because I've been dealing with grief. I lost one of my children. Well, I didn't lose him.
Mm.
He passed away 10 years ago,
Mm.
so that's been an issue that comes and goes depending on
Mm.
if I can stay in the big picture idea or not.
Mm.
But when I went home last night, I worked on that,
Mm.
and it really, I could feel a whole shift on the land.
Mm.
Because that's another thing. I feel like the land holds a lot of memories of
Yes.
grief.
Yes.
So I've been trying to work with that. So I want to thank you. That really
Yes.
was a whole new way of doing things.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That touches me. Powerful. These things, tools, I relate to that. It touches me because of our experiences. I can totally relate. And many of the processes and things that we do here are things that emerged amidst strong, challenging experiences that all of us go through. We all go through tough situations of loss, of situation with loved ones who go through different things that are not easy to process, not easy to handle. And to me, these tools are not a they're not a fix for those tough, challenging things. Yet they help us to allow what's real and true to keep moving and growing. And so I'm very glad that that helped you. I'm very glad you're here. So thank you. Anyone else want to share? Yes.
Yeah, I have to. There's parallel with this lady in front of me
Yeah.
because I've also been dealing with old grief coming up,
Mm.
and the light bulb just went on when you said when you go into the past,
Mm.
you're not in that quantum field
Mm.
and in the space of neutrality.
Mm.
Now I finally understand it
Mm.
because the awareness then is so much greater of what we're doing to ourselves when we go back into the past.
Mm.
The damage that we create with our nervous system and internal organs. And so, I mean, this is the main message
Mm.
for me being here,
Mm.
how to cultivate that. The peace that goes beyond all understanding,
Mm.
that's where you go
Mm.
when you dissolve in the field.
Good. Beautiful.
Thank you for that
Beautiful.
teaching.
Thank you. Thank you. No, the thing I want to kind of say, I'm hearing a kind of theme of it on everything, is that neutrality is the tool, is the resource. So during this retreat, open up to how neutrality can come in and find solutions and help with the things that are coming up, that have come up. Could be things that happened when you were a kid that have still left some residue. You know, just pull it up. You know, throughout this weekend, keep coming back here to the quantum field. Okay, everyone hop up again. Keep coming back here to the quantum field, and don't even land on anything, even if you have some realization about some new thing, or why you came here, or what you got. Don't even land on that. Because you land on that, and guess what? Now you build up a whole thing around that. Land on coming back to neutrality. Coming back to neutrality. So I'm going to keep doing different things. I don't even know what we're going to do. But we're going to keep trying different things to open up this portal and to get neutrality back in the experience. So everyone, again, take a nice big breath in. Just check in with your feet as you drop in right into still point. Check in with the feet again. Go forward on the tips. And go on back. And then right in the middle. All right, now open up the quantum field. This is another thing I want to do. I want to cover this today before we go on our field trip this afternoon. This is about navigation. Moving. And I want to cover this early because when we take our next break, lunch, moving around the retreat, the resort here, I want you to move as your quantum field. Everyone knows how to move the body from point A to point B. We've all gotten good at that. Problem is, when you're so busy going from point A to point B, you miss everything, all the other wonders that are here. And that doesn't just go for moving around in the body. It goes going to school, going to retirement, going to the next thing, going to the next thing. They call it human race. You know, it's a race. Keep going somewhere. We want to collapse that race and come back here. If you're here, guess what? There's nowhere to go. I often say in our seminars, you can point me in any direction. As long as I'm here and energy's flowing up here and I'm dissolving into the bliss and the nectar of the universe, who cares where I go? Because I'm already going outside of this bubble, outside of the galaxy, outside of the universe, and back to who we really are. So as we start this, I want you to very gently move in the 2-3 feet around you. Key to this process, only move if your quantum field moves you. Okay, everyone take a breath, stop, take a breath, and do not try. Take a big breath in, drop into still point, just kind of hold that. Wait a moment. You might want to wait a moment. First thing you might want to do is really hold it. Let it puff you up. I say it's like blowing up a balloon. When I drop in here for a moment, it's like I'm puffing up a balloon. Right now I feel at the heart. I feel like the heart kind of like, oh, whoo, pumping up. When you feel it nice and full, then say, okay, quantum field, it's kind of like you got the balloon on the ground. It doesn't go anywhere. You fill up the big thing and suddenly it starts to kind of move a little bit, swaying. Use that analogy. Now it's like the field. Now just let it sway a little bit. Now take a little step around a little bit, just a little bit around your space. Just kind of move as this field. In other words, you have to go slow enough so that you're bringing with your body this state. If you move too fast, this field can't get, it's left over there. The key is go real slow. So you feel this field integrating, moving the body. And then stop for a moment. Drop in again. All right, now venture out a little further. Now take a little bit of a journey around. Not too far, 5, 10, 15 feet. Don't notice anyone else for now. Just keep your perception on your field, on the quantum field. Good. Everyone stop. Now move as the quantum field. Just totally move as the quantum field. Forget you and how you normally walk or move or anywhere you need to go or process. Just simply move as quantum field. Feel that not knowing where you're going. And say, wow, that's kind of refreshing. Relax into that and let it move you. Good. Now let it move you further. Keep going with it. Let it roll. See where it'll move you in the tapestry of our universe, of this room. Right. Then take a moment right there. Just take a moment, drop in. Notice where it brought you. And I don't just mean in the physical proximity of the room. Notice where it brought you moving this way in terms of your experience. See, that's the difference. Moving your body around brings your body different physical locations. Moving your quantum field around brings your quantum field of consciousness to different places. Not physical places, conscious places. Anyone feel that a little bit? A difference of that equation. Now move around the room, big room, move around a little bit, and in this pass, notice other quantum fields. Not other people, not a lot of eye contact, just notice what it's like to move as the quantum field relative to other quantum fields. Good, and stop for a moment. Check in with your quantum field. Do a quick check of the outside periphery of your field. Maybe do a nice laser saber around the outside. Just tactily check in with it. This is your quantum field. You need to care for it in every moment. And now move again, this go around. Notice the quantum field around you, the quantum fields around you, and the person in the quantum field. Notice them, not too much, just a recognition and what it's like to interface. A nod, look at the eyes for a moment. Just notice what interacting with someone is like in that tactile state of the quantum field. Good. Okay, now find your way back to your chair. Keep your quantum field open and integrate. Actually, yeah, everyone go back to your chair. Just check in. Qualitatively with your quantum field. How's it feel? It feels good, doesn't it? This is a key point. This is such a key point that I want to touch on. Isn't that nice? And this is a huge point. This is the big point. It's such a big point. I hope I remember what it is. It's a really big point. The point is, notice how much opening happened, not through pulling back from things and doing an internal process, which is how a lot of spiritual systems and healing systems look at it now on planet Earth. You got to be quiet. You got to go. Notice how powerful that was, and it was purely an interactive process. And I want to highlight this because if you leverage the moments when you're interfacing with people, when you're interacting, when you're moving your body around, you can have some of the strongest cultivation of the quantum fields in those spaces. This room did a total shift. When I said there were two moments in that process, I'm not sure if anyone else felt it, where the room, whoosh, it's like the collective space went whoosh. One of them happened at one point. The other one happened when I suggested noticing the person. And I wanted to highlight this because this is huge. So often in spiritual practice and work, it's about me and this, my experience, and have I ascended? Have I done this? Have I become enlightened? It's all still about me. And to me, the most powerful thing that we as human beings do has nothing to do with our own liberation. It has to do with our perception and our perception's ability to help shift and manifest collective experiences. Which to me is how I see our purpose on a planet like this lovely one. We don't just come here. We come here when the place is ripe for consciousness. That's when we come in as people. That's our unique dharma, our destiny. We come into the matter, we experience it, we welcome it all, and then we open it up into the higher states of consciousness. Whatever name you want to give it, creator, give it any name you want. The true mystics and yogis, they don't argue about the name of the experience. When they recognize another, the real ones that I've been with, they never sit up and say, I have it, and none of you don't. They bow down to everyone around them. Get the microphone. Anyone want to share that process? What that process? Because from this point right here, every movement throughout the rest of this weekend, I want you to try to move as this space. I use this in my life. You go see me come to a seminar. Every seminar I come in, same thing. I come in very slow. I walk in. There's a microphone. I get the microphone. I don't rush. I take that. I'm allowing my quantum field to arrive into that space. Because I know if I come in without my quantum field, well, we're just going to have a conversation and talk about physical things. If I come in and we cultivate the space to be viable with the neutral essence quantum field, well, then we're going to have some exciting stuff happen. And we're all going to deepen. Who wants to share some piece of their experience? Yes.
Okay. When you said to bring in the fellow beings here,
Yes.
I had instantly felt and seen chakras,
Yes.
and the parts of people that were illuminated.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. One of my greatest loves of this work of subtle is that the subtle to me opens up subtle faculty. So the gross, what yogis often call gross, not gross like physical. In alchemy and esoteric studies, the gross is the physical world. Maybe not the best word to use, the coarser condition. The coarser condition has coarse senses, senses that respond to physical smells, physical objects, physical tastes, etc., hearing. The subtle faculty, to me, opens up an entirely new vestige of senses, which are based on the subtle emanations and qualities. Things like light, seeing different phenomena, hearing subtle sounds, fragrance, smelling very subtle, refined fragrance, taste, the nectar. We're not going to focus on this today. Today is about opening this, being comfortable getting in it, and moving. Tomorrow we're going to focus a little more on that internal process of activating those subtle alchemy openings, which induce a whole new sense of our senses and our experience of what we're interfacing with. What are we really interfacing with? What's really happening here? Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I when you said to actually notice and make eye contact,
Yeah.
Michael's coming towards me, I could actually feel his presence, his field was coming so powerful, I almost collapsed. And maybe it's because
I saw
I'm
you both
so
back
madly
there.
in love, but and then I just went like, whoa, no. It was so cool. Like I said, it reminded me of 37 years ago. It's like awesome.
I saw that whole thing. I saw you both lighting up back there. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Very sweet. But that is exactly, to me, what this work does. It brings, there are moments in life when that wave of experience of being, people have it at certain moments, sacred moments like union, even moments that are challenging like transition, or a family member departing, or a situation which is a very tough, strong situation, yet it brings us up really close to that wave of truth, of essence. And to me, using these tools in life is about saying, I want more of that in life. I want to be brought up close to that true essence. Not in a way that flips you into either psychosis or enlightenment, in a way that consciously stewards it as something that we can use and honor and be real with, because it's true. That's who we are. Thank you. Thank you. Was there someone else that looked like that? Yes, do one or two more.
I want to say thank you so much for the reminding about the rooting.
Yes.
That was just so powerful again. Like that.
So funny, you're so tuned in. Right before you said that, I checked in. See, that's how I use it a lot. Mm-hmm. I have a moment, the attention is over here. What did I do? I shifted, I felt forward back, I flipped I do it really fast. To me, it's like those tents you throw in the air and they set up.
Mm-hmm.
I do this so much that it takes me like 10 seconds. Okay, I'm lined up. But as I was saying that, you're thanking me for it. I'm like, don't thank me. I didn't do any of it. But thank you.
And the other thing is that I have never felt my quantum field to be so light and clear and expansive as of today.
Yes.
And for me, it was reminding that somehow I will mindfully take that forever now.
Yes.
Like it's got imprinted.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. And I honor and value you in that. So thank you. Yogis say that when the yogis get together, the ones that have done the work, they're each so busy. They're all so busy thanking one another. That's how you know you're with the real ones. Okay, who is there? One more? Eddie, come.
I was trying to walk with my feet wouldn't you're too grounded. Yeah, I couldn't pick up my feet up.
Good.
My feet just wouldn't let go of the floor.
Good. And that felt okay? That felt comfortable? Good. Trust that. Trust, you know, when I'm in neutrality, you know, I can't tell you how many situations I could be, and I'll stop. And I'm supposed to be going in a certain direction, doing something, and that stopping is telling me there's something not ready yet. There's something going on. And so I just honor that. I say, okay, what can I do here? This great example, like right there, what can I do? What I want each of you to start doing this weekend, you see, because there's a collective inertia in the way that people have been trained to use their brains. The inertia is in the brain, in the thinking. The thinking overrides all of this other stuff. Personality system overrides all of this other free-flowing movement through different dimensions and planes. The whole movement, they call it multidimensional existence, experience. And if you're just locked in third-dimensional relativity, then that flow form through the others locks up, doesn't happen. And what I want to suggest here is that when you notice something like that, that's a cue in to say, okay, and I just kind of go through, just real quick, okay, what should I be doing here? Boom, line up, there, here. Oh, maybe it's dropping the still point. Oh, maybe it's squeeze this root and flow this up. Oh, maybe it's open up this nectar, which we're going to touch on a little bit later. Each of these things, the more you practice them, and you know, it's not like in life there's a lot coming at all of us. That's why today, tomorrow, every so often you have a quiet moment, boom, just cycle through and say, okay, which one should I try? Try this, try this, try this. When I'm moving around, I'm more often doing these things. I don't let anyone know that. I don't close my eyes. I don't go sit in Indian over here. I'm at an airport. I don't want everyone's attention focused on me. I joke about that a little bit, but really, often I'll be at an airport and I'll be going like this, or I'll tuck behind a little area if I can. I don't want everyone's energy focusing on me if I can avoid it. If I can't find that, well, that's okay. I'll do it anyways because I want to activate my ether before I get on that next plane. So that I'm not absorbing everything around me. I want to be high-spinning energy so that anything coming near me, someone's coughing, I'm kind of pushing it out, not sucking it in. So use that. Use this as, you know, even practice when you know, even if I'm talking, practice, do it. Don't think about being rude. And this brings to another point that I want to jump into. You holding that thing as a service? Or you're so sweet.
I just want to say something.
Oh, you do?
but anyway.
Okay.
No, it just, I felt nobody was in my road. I felt it was big and I felt cool. Like usually when you're in a room, sometimes you feel hot and everybody, but I didn't feel that at all. I felt this cool. Like it could have been 1,000 people, I think, around me and I wouldn't have even felt them. I felt like a big, big room.
Beautiful.
Lots of room. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. That's clearly who you are. So that's beautiful. Thank you. This brings up a great point, and I wasn't going to go right here, but I want to jump right into this because we're going to go out later on today, and we're going to interact with people who have no interest or reference in any of this, which to me is a great opportunity, particularly for folks like us who tend to be a little sensitive to energy and things going around. You know, part of the challenge is that people who have a neutral kind of orientation, what can happen is energy can start to you can start to go around and everything comes on and comes in over here, particularly if you're in a big room or at an airport or mall or a situation. You open up like this, and everything that's going on then kind of lands on you. And I want to qualify this because this is a huge part to how I use this technology. I used to be very sensitive to energy before I figured out how to actually stabilize my own experience. I didn't like going flying. I didn't like being around a lot of people. I went through a period where I didn't like driving in cars. I went through a period where I only slept on planet Earth, only outside. My parents liked that period of my life. You know, so my nervous system was very, very sensitive to everything happening around me. And so much that it was too much. Couldn't process all that, and it just makes you go kind of nuts. So for me, when I talk about opening up my quantum field, there's a little bit of a subtle nuance to how that happens, and I want to touch on that then we'll take a little break. To me, there's different gradients. Everyone go ahead and take a nice big breath in. And again, just drop. Flex this field, kind of. It's like a muscle. I experience it like a muscle. I just say, whoa. So there's different ways that I hold this space of the quantum field. And I tell you, I'm giving it a certain context referential context, which is a little bit different, a little bit unique. Most healing traditions, yogis, they all experience this. They just don't tell everyone about it. Typically, they don't tell anyone. Maybe there's a couple of disciples that they'll actually give a little bit more of a reference for them because they're actually experiencing it. We're at a different moment on planet Earth. To me, everyone now is opening up. If you're here, you better be opening up to neutrality because that's what's going on. The last age was a polarized age, was polarity, karma. New age, no longer polarity. It's now a place, and this is important for those of us that like neutrality and have had a neutral orientation, because in the last age it kind of stunk. You come into your families, no one's dealing, processing stuff. The ones who are neutral are processing everyone else's stuff. You go to school, everyone's not so nice. The folks that are neutral, well, they're the ones that got really hit hard. Why? Because on some level, we were up to the challenge. Neutrality is up to the challenge, which gives it a whole different perspective. That's not uncommon. You read the stories of yogis and saints and different folks. They always had challenge. They had health challenges. They had nobody liked them. They had this. They had this. They were the ones that went through the strongest experiences. Why? From a relative perspective, they could handle the strong experience. And it turned out to make them not satisfied with things here. If the experiences weren't so strong, guess what? You probably could be, living status quo, no problem. The strong experiences prompted us to keep on this quest. And yet we have to be able to go and navigate and not collect and take on all that stuff. So to me, there's different qualities to this field. And today I want to just touch on those so that later on when we're out, you can flex those a little bit differently, hold them a little bit differently. The first one is what we've been doing, dropping into neutrality, which is great. When you're in a space like this is a great space to drop in and be here, because we're all dropping in and being here. I'll tell you, when I go into an airport and I'm walking through an airport, I don't drop into this very nice, open, neutral space and start walking around making eye contact with everyone. The last thing I want to do is have people noticing me or to be opening up to all the energy. A lot of healers have this notion that they want to heal everyone everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's good, that's important. Yet to me, I'm not playing that trip. There's too much going on everywhere. I don't want to collect all that stuff. I'm processing the stuff that's important to me, that's relative to me. So when I'm going through a situation like that, I do a very different thing. I completely shift my experience of my field. So whereas my field is open like this, I flip it and my field is now like this. Now it's my quantum field. It's now texturally not this big, soft, fuzzy, neutral thing. Now texturally it's this. This is now my quantum field. I'm now moving around and it's like my snowplow. And often in that situation, my head is down. I'm not looking to make eye contact with people. I do very specific thing to hold my field. I'm going to tell you what it is and then we're going to try it. Very specific thing to hold my field in this gradient. See if you can notice. Everyone, again, take a nice breath in, open up, feel your quantum field, open up. Just rest a moment and still point till you feel it kind of pump up. And now kind of hold it with a little bit more definition. In fact, see if you can see if you notice it really, make it real nice, soft, and open and loving. Open, space. Now flip it, and now change it so it's now more of a strong, protective envelope. There are two key things to me that really help this process. One is squeezing the back of the sacral area. Little bit, squeeze the sacral area till it goes in and then out and then right in the middle. Just kind of squeeze the back part, not the front perineum part, but the back part of the sacral area. And the second thing is up here. Tilt the head kind of forward like this. In fact, you know what? Everyone stand up. It'll be easier. We'll do it like this. Notice your feet. Just kind of check in, root your feet. Whenever I stand up, I could be at a airport, waiting online. I check in, especially if I'm around a lot of people. If I'm around a lot of people, I check. I go like this, drop in, shift this in, and no one's even there anymore. My field just goes whoosh, out. People aren't even relative when you drop in neutrality. And now open up quantum field. So when I walk around and I'm at a place with a lot of people, I completely shift my approach. I still hold my field open, yet I tilt the head down, which immediately for me locks it in. Now my field is whoosh, quantum field. I'm not noticing people. I'm not noticing people, but I'm not interfacing with people. I'm keeping my field contained. I might pull in my field a little bit if that's appropriate. I might pop it out just a little bit. Sacrum is kind of back and kind of tight. Not tight, but just whoosh, set. People feel that a little bit? Okay, now drop it. Drop back into the quantum field. These things only have relevance if they're things that we can do and then we can not do. Like driving a car, you got first gear, you got second, then you got reverse, then you got neutral. Well, if you only learn first, well, that's not going to really help you. You can maybe have a good drive. But you got to get all of it in order to really use that vehicle. The vehicle of the quantum field requires that we understand these different facets of it. Otherwise, we'll bump into one thing, it'll knock you over, and then you're knocked over. And whenever you bump into that one thing, you're knocked over again. So here's what I want you to do. Once again, take a little journey. Open up the quantum field and do regular like we did a moment ago. Just kind of move around as the quantum field nice and slow, keeping it nice and open. You may want to notice people. You may want to not notice people. You may want to notice the field. We'll stop, settle right in. Now, change your quantum field orientation. Now move around a little bit as the quantum field. Still go slow. Okay, stop for a moment. Drop in the still point, puff up, strengthen the quantum field, nice, strong. And now, again, strengthen it from a more of a referential kind of position. Tilt head down a little bit, and now kind of just move around a little bit. Notice the difference. Still notice other people, only notice them in this different texture state. Good. That's great. Everyone stop. That's great. Now do it again. Now this go around, move around a little bit, almost like you would your normal daily move around. Now notice people as you hold that space. Notice the other quantum fields. Good. All right, that's good. That's good. Good stuff. All right, now make your way back to your chair. and drop back into still point. Oh, that was powerful. Isn't that powerful? You know what, for me, I noticed, that's powerful. Really powerful. It's almost as though the natural tendency when we're in this state and really neutral, it keeps everyone a little bit tepid. And being in the neutral state, that's also got a little bit of a, hey, I'm neutral, and I just saw the room I saw faces light up and people were moving, and really, that was really cool. Anyone want to share? Anyone want to share about that, how that was for them? That, as different from the last pass. Yes.
I noticed that my walk was so much more confident and solid
Yeah, that's right.
in one experience
That's
later.
right. That's right. That's great. But you could still feel your quantum field intact. Very slight difference. Very slight. Most people never know anything about the first, let alone the differentiating of the second. Yet totally qualitatively a little bit different. I want you to play around with that this afternoon. At lunch, when we go around every so often, puff up the quantum field, move around, interact with people from this, and in certain situations, notice when, hey, you know what, maybe I'm a little more comfortable tightening up and going like this. Around a lot of people, situation. The key to that process is almost to have a braking system so that we don't, it doesn't have to be a dialogue of open quantum field and shut back to the personality in the body. Otherwise, whatever comes, some strong person comes by, they get upset at you, or then it contracts and the quantum field shut down. Tough person comes by me and I say, okay, whoosh, click down here till strong. I want to be very whoosh. Okay, now what are we talking about? That now we have a conversation. Energetically, we're putting our energetic being into the situation. We're not overwhelming. We're not trying to dominate. We're not trying to overpower someone. Yet we're saying one of the greatest things I ever heard one of my favorite mystics say. You never guessed him to say this because he's, always talking about love. Yet this is a powerful, powerful thing I ever heard. He said, the essence of the path of love is never to intimidate anyone and never to be intimidated by anyone. Which to me was like, whoa. If you go through life and you never trip that out on someone else, and you never let someone trip that on you, you are now holding the true integrity of your existence. Isn't that powerful? And that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about taking our field with us and saying, nothing is going to happen here in this domain that's going to disconnect me from the state of my neutral connection to my being. This is our lifeline. Our essence. It's unique for each of us. I don't go around telling people, hey, I got this thing and you got to get some. No, this is a unique, unique thing for every single person who's here in this play. And you cannot be here without this thing. There's no question to me when I work with people, and we're going to touch on this when we shift gears into some practitioner work tomorrow. And really, for the practitioners here who really want to learn about working our system with a laser, all of this is central to it. When you're working with someone as a practitioner, there's nothing I can tell you about how to work with someone with a laser, what protocols to do. All of that stuff is secondary. The only reason that we have a good effect on winding people is because we stay in neutrality, and our tools keep us in neutrality as much as we can. It is neutrality that does all the rest of the work. And this process that we did is a very simple process, basically to say in every situation, I have situations a lot. We travel around, people are cooking. Whether it's at an airport hotel, or it's at or someone gets on the line, you're at the line and they cut in front of you, and your little daughter's standing there and you're like, wait a moment here, There are situations that cook up and we have to choose how we're going to respond to those situations in every moment. We don't win them always. Yet to me, we keep this quantum field strong. If we get knocked over, we get back in it. And if we can, we keep it flexed relative to the situation we're dealing with. It's really important for New Age folks who are very sensitive too, who You know, grow up in a family with someone stronger who's always kind of trying to, their sense of how they establish order is to control. A lot of people, you know, on planet Earth right now have either a neutral kind of, oh, we'll go with it kind of approach, or a, hey, I'm going to set the thing here, I'm in charge, I'm the manager, I'm this, you need to line up around this. That's been the prevailing condition. This process is about saying, well, not really. Neutrality can also be, neutrality is very powerful at being authoritative in a respectful fashion. When you're in this place and you got something to say, it's very powerful. It's charged with the essence of the universe.